Merry Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve. Interesting time. And always good to be here with you as we prepare to see the new year. And super duper excited about 2026 that's coming up. It's upon us so quickly. Tomorrow I leave to Mexico tomorrow afternoon to go see and spend time with some amazing young men from an orphanage that we support and traveling to every Christmas for about 11 years. I think this is our 11th year. Amazing how time flies. We love getting that opportunity to be with them. Joita and Lupe, amazing couple who run the orphanage. And so, yeah, get coffee going here. Be interesting to see how many people join me today. Or people are sleeping in because it's Christmas Eve, which I get it. A lot of people start their holidays, family and stuff today. Totally understand if that's you. Maybe you're watching the replay. Man, what a day. I am working a little bit this morning just to finish up a few things. I'm heading out and then taking off the rest of the day would be with the family, kiddos, mom, as in Marliese Engelmeyer, Chantel's mom. And my mom, Hobbs, will be spending Christmas at their place this year, I guess. I'm not sure where they're spending it actually. They live in Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. But we're always together on Thanksgiving. That's what I always tell my mom, that I do my best to make sure I'm with my mama for Thanksgiving. She really appreciates that. Once we did, we had a great Thanksgiving this year. Any holiday traditions you have as you jump on here, if you want to say hello and where you're joining us from? And then if you let me know, I'm curious what your holiday traditions are. Maybe it's Hanukkah, maybe it's Christmas, maybe it's Thanksgiving. What is it that you do? Have any kind of thing, special thing you do with family, friends? How do you celebrate? It is a amazing time of year for some, for others. It's very frustrating, or maybe even emotional, to not have family, or to have situations where maybe family is not around anymore. I know that's going to be our first Christmas without Phil Angmeyer, Marlise's husband. Call him Opie. Yeah, so that'll be interesting, and that's actually why I'm headed to Mexico and Chantel's staying here. It's her mom, Marlise. It's her first Christmas without Phil in a long time. So, good morning, Mr. Nate. Welcome. Nate, are you guys having a very good to see you on here, my friend? You guys having anything special for Christmas? do anything special. Here we are. Okay, we're back. Thanks for joining me, brother. Well, we are going to go over the ox today, but before I do that, let's do my little intro here. That's what's always cool about live, right? These live videos. But we are the Amish Matchmakers. This is the men's edition where I encourage men, help them, especially because of our reputation, reputation. We are becoming known as the Amish Matchmakers, and we help Amish singles to find godly spouses and to create epic marriages and develop a legacy that is rooted in faith and freedom. Welcome to my morning edition with the men. And a little bit later, we will be Chantel and will be coming on as well. We'll do probably 7 o'clock. Yeah, the ox. Oh man, that coffee's good. Coffee's extra good today. Coffee seems to always be extra good whenever you're trying to wake up. Oh man. Well, we've been discussing and talking about the 4 faces of God, and the ox being one of the faces. And so, Nate, good morning. I just realized you must be driving this morning, huh? Must be on the road. Oh my goodness. And hopefully you'll be home for Christmas, huh? I'll be home for Christmas. If only in your dreams. I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. Well, again, those of you that are watching and here today, if you want to share your plans for the holidays and what you traditionally do, is it with mom, dad, is it with cousins, uncles, or is it with just your children? You start a family tradition or anything? It's always cool to hear about. But, okay. The ox. The ox is actually why I am here this morning. We've been talking about the 4 faces and the personalities. When you have you ever read that verse that says we are, or that God created us in His image? I say God, of course, it's Papa, Abba, Father. Knowing Him and loving Him as Father is part of our identity shift into inheritance mindset, and knowing that if we do the work, we will receive the blessing, we will receive the inheritance from our Father in heaven. It does shift things when you know and believe that you have a Father that loves you and is backing you and all the things you're doing and all the decisions you're making. He wants to support you mentally, emotionally, financially. Like, that's pretty powerful to know that, and to have that experience or to have that understanding is very, very powerful. Uh, and it does give you more confidence as a man, speaking to the men this morning. That I will say that I lost my father when I was 19 years old. My biological father passed away, um, diabetic complications. He actually died in the hospital of a um, heart attack. And yeah, that was a tough time. I was 19 years old. I had just seen him the night before at the hospital, and I'd checked on him. I had been out with some friends, and or no, I'm sorry. It was late in the evening. I think I'd finished work. Went and checked on him at the hospital and see how he's doing. And it's like, well, I've been having some chest pain, but he was in the hospital for pneumonia. So they said, well, it could be the pneumonia. It's causing you chest pain. And they said, matter of fact, he told me they're going to release me tomorrow morning. And I said, okay, well, this sounds good, Dad. I'll come pick you up. At the time, I was working as a manager at a Golden Corral there in our town in Safford, Arizona, a small town. Um, I said, I'll come pick you up and we'll go have uh, breakfast at the restaurant. I think it was a Friday night. Um, and I said, I'll take you to breakfast. And he said, okay. And I remember an interesting thing I said to him, and I don't know why. I said to him, I said, Dad, don't die on us. I don't know. It's weird how I said that. I think back to it, and it just is kind of strange. And he says, oh, no, I'm good, son. I'll be out tomorrow. Just come pick me up. And I said, okay, Dad, I love you. He said, I'll see you in the morning. And it's funny because I remember walking out of that hospital room and walking down the hallway of the hospital and thinking, you know what? He didn't say I love you. And I remember thinking, I need to go back and just have him say it. He had said it before. I'm not saying he actually would say it to me. It was a thing. My mama raised us up saying I love you a lot and with love and affection. My dad would do that to my biological father. I didn't meet him till I was 8. I think it was 7 or 8. However, I got to spend 10, 11 years with him. And excuse me. Yeah, he would say I love you. So it was just a matter of the fact that I said, Dad, don't die on us. And number one, number two, I said I love you, and he didn't say it back. He normally did, but it was just that thing. I saw him walking down the hall, like, man, I should go back and have him say that. And it's interesting because I didn't. And it was about probably 2 or 3 hours later. I remember it was like in the evening, 8 o'clock in the evening or something. When I left there, and I went to a friend's house and was hanging out with them. We were watching a movie, group of us friends, and it got over like 11 or 12. And I remember I was driving back to my apartment of the time. I had my own apartment, and I stopped in Circle K to get some gas. I believe it was a fuel. I can't remember even why I stopped in, but I think I was getting fuel in my car or truck, and it was my truck, I believe, a little S10, if I remember right. And as I'm coming out from paying, my stepmother, who's married to my dad at the time, pulls into the gas station, says, come on, we got to go. I'm like, got to go? What are you talking about? She goes, it's your dad. I just got a call from the hospital. Something's wrong. They told me to get there immediately. I'm like, what the heck? I just left him a couple hours ago. I don't understand. I was just there. She's like, I don't know. Let's go. And so I did. I jumped in my truck and we headed to the hospital back where he was. And it was an interesting thing as I entered the hospital and just wondering what's going on and just having this sinking feeling. And as we walked up to the room where he was, um, they were there, the people, nurses, and I don't know if it was doctors, I don't know who all was in there, but they were doing CPR on my father. Um, They were on top of him on the bed, and I don't know. I've I think that was probably one of the only times up close and being at a hospital too that I saw him doing CPR, if I remember right, they had the paddles too to try shocking him, and I remember being there, and they just one of the nurses came out and they said, well, they pulled Nancy and I aside, and me being the oldest son, and Nancy being the my dad's wife at the time, just said to us, "Oh, glad you're here. You're the family." And we're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What happened? What's going on?" I'm like, "I was just here a few hours ago." They said, "Yeah, he coded and his heart stopped, and we've been doing CPR on him for about 20 minutes now, and trying to bring him back, and he's not responding. We've used the paddles on him, and they're just like, 'What do you want us to do? Do you want us to continue on?'" And I was just like, I looked at Nancy, and I'm like, we just, I said, "Oh my gosh." I mean, it was so weird to be like, "Oh my gosh, what do you mean? What do we do?" Like, I mean, do you stop? Is that what you're asking? Well, they were like, "Yeah, do you want us to continue to try to revive him?" And I'm like, I remember just looking at Nancy and going like, I guess it's his time. I don't know. I guess you can stop. I guess we let him go. And it was weird, just like weird. As the oldest son, and I didn't, yeah, I didn't know what to say really. I'd never had to make a decision like that. The only thing I could think of was that, for some reason I knew it was his time, even earlier when I was with him and he was still alive. So I say all that to say this, that losing a father was challenging, very challenging. I mean, I didn't even meet him till I was 7, 8 years old. Um, and now to lose him, here I am 19, I believe I was 19, and he passes away. And it's been many times over the years, even like he had met my previous wife. No, he hadn't. Never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah, he had never met even my previous wife, Lee. Of course, he never met Chantel. Never got to know who my kids are or anything like that. I had always, you know, hoped that I'd get to spend more time with my father. Really became good friends. He had gone to prison my eighth grade year. I mean, there's so many stories about my childhood and my life, and um, but after he got out of prison, um, and I'm named after him, by the way. His name was Carlos Ramon Martin Campos, and so I am the second Carlos Ramon Campos the second. I always put the Martin in there too because I think it's awesome. But technically, Martin is not on my birth certificate. Um, so, anyways, getting to meet him and then getting to know him, and then when he went to prison, my eighth grade year of school, I remember because he wasn't at my eighth grade graduation. I don't know about you guys, but in Arizona, the school we went to, they celebrated when you graduated eighth grade. That was like a cool accomplishment. And you had 4 more years of high school, right? And so, yeah, he was not there in my eighth grade graduation. So it's I remember that very clearly. Um, and it was because he was in prison. He had gone to prison for some burglary of, he worked at the mine, copper mine in Morenci, and he was accused of masterminding, being the mastermind or helping plan some robberies and burglaries that took place at the some nicer homes for the management of the copper mine, and that they had this housing development they lived in, the management team and the higher ups in the mine, and their homes got robbed. And that's the only thing. He had alibi, everything, but that's what stuck. Was they had said he was the mastermind, helped plan the robberies and the burglaries. And so then um he went to prison for that, and actually he had like I said, he had an alibi. And anyways, he had said it wasn't true that he didn't plan it out with them. I guess him and some buddies were talking about it one time, what that would be like or something. But yet he never helped them plan it out and everything. And so I remember the reason why he went to prison and he plea bargained. He could have fought it and went to court and went through the trial and everything. However, they said that they were going to put all of his family on the witness stand and make them have to testify about different things they knew about him, and just run the family through the ringer essentially. And so he felt it was better for him just to plea bargain and serve some time just so the family didn't have to go through that. We probably would have rather gone through that than having him not be around. Um, I think it was 2 years he was in prison, maybe three. I can't remember how long he was in prison. I just remember he wasn't there for eighth grade graduation. And so, anyways, I say that to say I know what it's like to lose your dad. I lost him, like I said, for he wasn't there at my eighth grade graduation. And then after that, he comes back, and it was pretty amazing actually, because when he came back from prison, he had really done a lot of soul searching while he was in prison. And before going to prison, he knew God, and I do, you know, believe he had faith. But after prison, he came out with a lot of faith. I remember we did Bible studies together. We studied the Word. It was cool because that was finally something I felt we could really connect on, because I had always enjoyed doing Bible studies, deep dives, and searching the Word. Again, some of you may have heard my story from my grandfather, Burl Lawrence, who has now passed away as well, passed the baton, but he was one that gave me that really rooted Bible study heart and mind and soul that I love studying the Word. So, anyways, after losing my father, um, yeah, I just know what it's like to lose a father. I know what it's like to not have a father, even. Like I said, during my first of all, I didn't meet him till I was 7. And then here I am. That probably would have been 14, I think. Yeah, I think it's about 14, 13 or 14. I lose him again. First, I didn't meet him till I was 7. And then here I am 7 years later. He's going to prison and not at my eighth grade graduation. It's funny what we remember from our younger years, right? And then when he gets out, we get really close because we're studying the Word together, doing some Bible study stuff together, and then gone, passes away. And it was diabetic, had a lot of severe diabetic complications, and lost even a toe or two. He'd stepped on a nail that got infected, didn't have good circulation in his feet due to the diabetes, and lost a couple of toes. He had gone through dialysis. His kidneys had shut down at one point. I mean, he had a lot of health challenges. So, um, yeah, but yet when he passed, when I was 19, it was still really, really hard and was unexpected. And then, yeah, my siblings, Jesse, who had been the one right under me, my brother Jesse, he was here for Thanksgiving, him and his wife Jess. Super cool to have them and his daughters. And then Patricia would be the next in line. As far as my dad, um, my siblings on my dad's side, they're half siblings because we have different mothers, same dad. And Patricia, and then Vanessa was the baby, the youngest. She was not a baby at the time, but I do believe she was 7 or 8 years old. 7, yeah. Now that I'm thinking, I think she was 7, because when I came into the picture, when I was 7 years old or 8 years old, um, she hadn't even been born yet. So that's right. when our dad passed away. I'm pretty confident. I think she was around 7 or 8. So, little history of father. So, why did I bring that up? Well, family traditions made me think of it, and then even um, remembering what it's like not to have a father and losing a father, and then since I was 19, then I feel like I've always been on like this search for an earthly father, and I remember going meeting back up with my stepfather, Jerry Nelson, and he had been remarried. He had divorced my mom and moved on. He was in my life for quite a few years. That's a whole nother story. But anyways, um, and he had moved on. He had gotten remarried, had kids too in that marriage. So it was like, yeah, I've got a family and I'm not really interested in having a relationship with you. And it was like, okay, I tried. And then I remember um, different father figures that came into my life, and then Pops, who is now married to my mother, Diane. Pops is awesome. He's been a great support and a good man to have as a friend and as a father figure, and just very kind man, very patient man. Married to my mama, and so then um, Phil Angemar, which is Chantel's stepfather, who's been in her life though quite a few years, when her biological father left and sailed around the world, and then ended up divorcing her mom and remarrying. Well, then Marlise, Chantel's mom, found Phil. The story goes that they found Phil, actually, that I think Michelle or one of the daughters found Phil and said, "Oh, you need to meet my mom." And so I think it was Michelle. And so, anyways, they met and they ended up getting married, and they had a really beautiful life together. And Phil, such a good man, such a good, loving, supportive man, and what an awesome father he did become to me. I realized when she's not going to try to get emotional right now. Wow. Okay. When Phil passed. He had been the longest, like besides my grandfather, Burl Lawrence. And probably because Phil was so consistent these last few years living here on the ranch with us, and he and I had some good quality time together. He had been a father figure in my life for the longest, again, besides Burl Lawrence, um, my grandfather. But it was just interesting because, again, he lived here on the ranch with us. They moved here from California. We built them a home here, and he was living here, and he would do the chores, and we would hang out with him every morning. He helped with chores, and he actually was amazing. Had a thing about trash, so he'd always take out our trash almost daily, or as needed. And the recycling, he's a big proponent and big supporter of recycling. And we also designated Tuesday evenings to him and Marlise. We'd hang out with them on Tuesday evenings, and it was interesting, getting to know Phil and his heart. Always willing to give, always willing to do whatever he could to serve and love and bless people. Um, quite a man, quite a man. It is actually, I was just sharing this story yesterday. It was because of him and Marlise and my mom and Pops, um, that actually the two couples blessed Chantel and I by helping us, because we had never established credit. We'd always rented. We didn't even have credit cards even. When we came here to Georgia, I think we had one that we had started, each one of us, just to kind of develop our credit. But they both, on both sides, both parents, blessed us with their credit, made us co-signers on some of their cards, which gave us a ton of credit, which allowed us to get the ranch. We had the cash flow and the monies and the ability to buy the ranch, but we didn't have uh, the credit for it. So it was really cool to have both sides do that. My mom and Pops. my mom and her husband, and then Marlise, Chantel's mom, and her husband Phil, the two essentially like stepfathers in our lives come in, and then both our mothers, Chantel and I's mothers, the four of them just being willing to bless us with um, helping us establish credit very quickly, allowed us to move forward on purchasing this ranch and investing in this, and yeah, it's been a huge blessing. But I bring that up about the father. I tell you stories about fathers, and my father, and my story of my father, and then my grandfather, Burl Lawrence too. That was, I lived with them for a season. Like I said, I've said that many times, that he was the one who really gave me a foundation on studying the word and diving deep into it and learning so much about the word. Um, but the thing is that the father figure is so powerful and so important. Knowing your father, whether it's your earthly or Papa God in heaven. I love that Yeshua prayed that. He said, the disciples asked, how do we pray? How do we pray? And he says, our Father. Didn't say your father. Didn't say my father. He says, our Father, together. And it's super powerful when you think about that he did refer to him as Father in that moment, and how important the Father is, a father figure is. And why do I bring that up? Because that's the ox. The ox is a father. The ox is like a wise old father. It's interesting transitioning, even, I would say, even more since Phil has passed. And we miss him a lot. It's hard not to miss someone like that that's in your life every single day. Every morning, he would come as we were doing our Epic 30. He would come into the house and we would say good morning. He would usually ask us questions if he had some questions, or come and change the garbage or take out the recycling. We'd give him love, and he'd come let the chickens out, and feed the chickens and water the chickens, because that chicken coop's next to our house. And he'd come and take the collars off the dogs and kind of make sure their bowls were put up and their collars were put on the charger. We have collars for our herd protector dogs outside, and just this routine. He had a routine, and Phil, as I would call him, Dad, uh, father, Dad. Um, and again, like I said, we got to get close because we spent consistent time together. On Tuesdays was our designated time for them. Um, he was definitely a great representation of the ox. He had routines, he had systems, he had things he would do um, every day, every day, every day. You could pretty much set your watch by him. And he was definitely a great representation of ox, and having a system and just having a routine that would get things done. And it was so dependable. So dependable. And it's interesting, as we talk about the eagle representing the more discernment, feminine and estrogen side of things, and the mother or the queen. And then you've got the lion representing the son or the daughter, right? The child, if you would. But yet, Yeshua being that representation, Jesus. And then you've got the father figure, the father, the ox, the stable, the confident, the confidence in the repetition, confidence in the routine, confidence in the plan. The ox being the planner, the systems person, the order, the steadiness. And Proverbs 21:5, the verse that describes well the ox, the father, the stable one, is the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. And again, I'm just giving you part of that verse, but it's a powerful verse that just does well to be like the core verse of an ox. And that's why I said I started this out as like, that's why I'm here this morning, because of the ox mentality and the ox personality and strength coming out, and me really being learning, and over the years, the value and the importance of the ox, the value and the importance of being consistent and faithful. And hey, yeah, it's Christmas Eve here in the U.S. and we will be celebrating. And I will take the rest of the day off this afternoon. I'll work till about 10 o'clock this morning and button up some things because I'm headed to Mexico too tomorrow to celebrate and to spend time with the orphans. But again, the ox is faithful and diligent and consistent. I say I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. And so the ox is diligent planning and that produces, he's a diligent planner that produces predictable fruit. Yeah, very predictable. Uh, and again, like I said, very faithful. One thing that we knew about Phil and Dad, um, that he would always come through. He said he would do something, he would do it. And so we knew we could travel. We went out of town. I remember Chantel and I going to Greece for our anniversary, and between him and Jay, Taylor, Jay, my brother-in-law, who we works on the ranch here and helps keep things up because 47 acres, a lot to do, and does little projects and stuff. But Dad was the one that was kind of taking care of the animals, the mundane daily routines, watering the animals, feeding, you know. And then when we went to Greece, like I said, we knew the animals were going to be taken care of. We knew the ranch was good. Jay was handling the ranch and taking care of things, but Dad would, do like I said, the things that feed, water every day, every day, every day. And he loved it, gave him purpose. And he loved being here on the ranch. He loved discovering turtles here on the ranch. And that was his big thing, was turtles. And so again, he was a great representation of the ox. And he would always be diligent in everything he did and faithful. You could count on him for sure. Luke 14:28-30, another great verse for him and for that mindset of the ox and the strength of the oxes, does not first sit down and count the cost. Create the plan. Be strategic. And I remember uh, Dad would watering the animals. We have a old truck, 4-wheel drive truck, and has doesn't go on the street. Literally, is just here on the ranch to water the animals, and we put a big water tank on the back of it, like a big little metal cage plastic tank. And it's a I can't remember how many it is. I think it's 70 gallons or 50 gallons. Anyways, I don't remember. Doesn't matter. But it sits in the back of the truck. You put water in it, and you go water the animals. Well, it's interesting. We were watering with a little hose attached to it, and a little pump, and it was taking forever. My dad, on the other hand, he got this big like fire hose thing, solid hose, and he got it all hooked up to that thing. I remember it'd take us 2 hours to water, and it'd take 10 minutes for Dad to water. You buy the right equipment, but that's how he was. He was diligent and faithful, and he'd put his mind to it. He always told me, he would say, it's always really good to hire a very efficient, lazy person. And so it's funny you would say that because they'll figure out a way to do it easy and efficiently. And he wasn't at all lazy, but again, it's the mindset of the ox of like, what's the best, most efficient way I can do this to do it in the shortest amount of time? And he did. He got this hose, and man, we have these big water troughs, right, that we fill up for the cows and the sheep, and yeah, he could, that thing, 10 minutes, you're done watering. We have big 2 water troughs for the horses as well, another trough. And man, that thing, you just open it up, like a whole bunch of water comes out, and in minutes it's full. Versus we literally would sit there almost a half hour, an hour per trough, big trough. We had like 3 of them. So, anyways, I just tell you that because it's kind of funny how Dad would figure out the best system, the best plan, and then put it into action. Sometimes you'd be like, is this really saving time? But in that case, it 100% saved so much time. So counting the cost, sitting down, creating the plan. Yeshua teaches us many times through his word that planning before building is a wise system and not just impulsive starts, right? And so 1 Corinthians 14:40 says, let all things be done decently and in order. There is an order, there is a system, there's a plan, there's a strategy that will get you the best results. And the father, the ox mentality, is that wise old like sage, that old fatherly figure that figures it out, but is has so much wisdom, right? And so much good wisdom, but is consistent and faithful and always there, right? Very predictable. And it's super powerful to have that strength in you, to have the strength of the eagle, the discernment, the visionary, the communicator, to have that uh the confidence and fire and drive of the lion and the ability to take action and get things done quickly, and then to have the efficiency, the plan, the strategy, the effectiveness, and and structure of an ox, the father, the warrior of the lion, and the queen of the air, the eagle. So it's powerful when you put them all together. And the ox is order and structure that protects flow and makes things repeatable. We talk about how, confidence being the lion, communication being the eagle, and then the last C in having intimacy, the three C's of intimacy, three C's of love is commitment. Commitment. The ox by far is the master of commitment because, commitment is really true, tried and true over time, and consistency. Being there when you say you're going to be there, following through when you say you're going to do something, you follow through, admitting to your mistakes and your screw ups, and so again, it is a very interesting thing to see the strengths of these faces and to know and acknowledge and feel the ox and to empower the ox. Over the years, I've been empowering the ox, and I will tell you, another powerful ox that I met and ended up working with and who's so diligent and faithful is Jesse Kaufman. He is the standard of our community, the standard of our processes and things that we have created in systems and plans and strategies. He is the standard for that. He's faithful, he's steady, he's committed, and he understands repetition is the mother of all skill. He understands the power of faithfulness and time, right? That over time, that's really where the results come. And man, he is that guy. He is a beautiful, powerful representation. It's something that is very prevalent and it's interesting. Even I believe it's part of his peculiar gift that he is so consistent and faithful. Very amazing, amazing man. I think he's here this morning with me. Let me look at these messages. But the ox, we'll continue to talk about the ox. Let me see. Oh yeah, there's Jesse. Good morning. It's like tomorrow for us will be like any other day. Christmas, yes, the holidays. Some people do celebrate Christmas, some don't. Some people celebrate Hanukkah. Some people celebrate different things during this season. So I want to be Amish. I hate city life in Chicago. All right. Let's see these comments. Good morning. I forgot to show these. See, it shows you I'm tired, but I'm waking up now. Jesse. And then this person saying, hey, I want to be Amish. Hate the city life in Chicago. Interesting. Well, hello from Chicago. And the town priest said, I'm going to hell because my mother is a gypsy. Okay. Thank you for sharing. So, just looking at some comments there. I do post comments too as they come through at times too, as well. But time for a little thing, real quick, subscription wise. We are working on building out our subscription on subscribers on our YouTube channel. We want to develop our YouTube channel. And it came to our attention as we were talking to some people that we're very close to, some people that we actually mentor and work with. As we were asking them, there were so many of them, just like you, that had not subscribed to our YouTube channel. And so we decided, let's do a campaign. Let's every day, let's remind people. And if you haven't subscribed, would you be willing to do that? Especially on our YouTube channel. I know some of you follow us on Instagram, the Amish Matchmakers, or on TikTok. You follow us, or even our Facebook page, Chantel Campos or Carlos Campos. Um, and again, reputation being the Amish Matchmakers, helping couples over 20 couples in the last 5 years come together and matching them up successfully and seeing them get married. And a lot of them most of them, I think, less than 12 weeks, they went from connecting and being committed to each other to engaged, and finding the one and then now creating an epic marriage and developing their legacy. We love doing that with them. Um, and so that's what we want to do with you. This is my morning men's edition. Every weekday at 5 a.m. I will be taking off during the holidays because I'll be in California, which is a 3 hour difference. I'll be in Mexico, actually, but Baja, California, visiting our orphanage. I will be going live quite a bit while I'm there because I want you to see the story. I want to show you the orphanage live and in person. But I will tell you that I am super pumped to be going. But today would be my last day of 2025 of doing 5 a.m. Um, meeting up with you men. But I want you to hit the subscribe button if you would on our YouTube channel. We super pumped that we hit the 500 mark. That was a big deal, just by asking. And if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to when we create content and we go live like this, and this is unscripted, it's live, and some of you are like, yeah, it's boring, I'm out of here. Or maybe some of you are getting stuff out of it by being here, and we're talking about the four faces today. But if you'll hit that button, then we'll continue to bring everything we have, our skills, our information. We often say that, hey, we want to give away all of the things that we've learned, we've developed over the years. But if you want to work with us directly, you pay for our time, right? We donate this time to tell the world about the skills and strategies we've learned, and we share different things that we have and different ways that we do this. And yeah, epicyourlife.com is our website. We have a lot of our core activities there. I believe all of them are there, that you can get the workbooks, you can get the videos that tell how to do the core activities there as well. And then if you want to be a part of our community where we mentor you, it's epicyourlifeonschool.com. If you're married and working on your marriage and want epic and or you're engaged, that's what we do. First step, though, if you're not married and you're single, go to single to married, single, the number two, and then married on school.com. And you can go to school, SKOOL.com, and look up single to married, and you'll find it. Use the number two, and you'll find it's run and been developed by Jesse and Irina Kaufman. Some people that we had mentored and helped them. Actually, they were the start of this. That's where our start came of working with the Amish. Is we worked with Jesse and Irina first, and once they got engaged and married, actually in less than 12 weeks, our guarantee now is that we can help people get engaged in less than 12 weeks. But with Jesse, it was powerful to see his faithfulness, committed, consistency, and hard work and effort, and then led to him getting married. And then he and Irina joined us in our mission of helping people to have epic lives. And they started single to married to be specifically helping the singles and be more focused on that matchmaking process and more focused on the skills and strategies that it takes to get engaged, to become engaged. And so it's been a powerful journey watching them and seeing them develop that. But I would say, would you subscribe again to our channel like I started a few minutes ago? And we will continue to bring all the skills, all the information so that you can have an epic life. All right. So if you're single, go check out Jesse and Irina's group. If you're married, we'd love for you to, if you want more, if you want mentorship, you want a community that is developing and growing epic, then yeah, check out Epic Your Life. It's a subscription based, and we'd love to see you in there and help you to develop your legacy and develop your marriage and carry on in this powerful process. But our target is 1,000. When we hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'm gonna be shaving this off, this mustache, and have like an Amish style beard and get some suspenders and stuff. And it'll be fun. I'm gonna also do a live on that when I'm with my barber and he's cutting this off and making me look more Amish. Even though I have no Amish in my background, I just serve and help Amish. Got the reputation, so might as well have some fun with it, and that's what we'll do. That's the challenge I'm setting forth. So will you share and have people subscribe, and let's get there. We can do it together. If many hands make light work, so if we all work together, we can get there a lot faster. So, all right. Jesse's still with me. Yeah. Thanks for being here. What kind of flower? It's not a flower. Not sure what they're talking about, but there you go. It's a plant. And I'm not sure. My wife put that plant there. All right. So back to the ox as an animal. Um, when we look at the fact that God created um, us in his image, and the image he chose was the lion, the ox, and the eagle, and then the face of man. I do believe the face of man is those three combined, and then the special thing that is in our DNA, the thing that makes us peculiar and unique, uh, um, unique compared to everyone else on the planet. So that is what I believe the face of man represents, is the unique human, is which is a combination of the three faces and their very unique quality. For myself, when I put these all together and I started to embrace who I am and my identity and who I'm becoming, and I worked on this for years, and then I've developed it over the years. I am a master catalyst for metamorphosis. I'm a master catalyst for metamorphosis. Now, again, some really interesting words there, right? Again, it made sense, and I've continued to understand that and develop that. I will bring transformation and change in your life and help you to have your most best epic life and help you to fulfill your dreams and goals. Because I love to see change. I love to see growth. I love to see you growing and green and putting forth fruit. When you're ripe, you're rotting. When you're green, you're growing. God called us to be bearers of fruit. He didn't call us to be fruit. So it's important that there's a difference, that we bear fruit and we keep bearing fruit. And at times we have to prune and trim to create more growth and development. And there's lots of cool things about plants that I love studying. But back to the ox. The ox is faithful and diligent and consistent. Now let's talk about the ox as an animal. Um, we talked about the eagle having a tragic truth that only feeds one young, feeds the hungry. And so they may have three or four young, but typically only one survives because they feed them the most. The one that's communicates, I want food, I want food. And they feed the hungry, which is a powerful lesson in itself. Tragic truth, though, we call it. And then with the lions, the tragic truth of killing off all the cubs when a new alpha lion takes over the pride, and that way the women become ready to impregnate, um, and then he starts his bloodline in the pride now, which is amazing because again, how important it is as an example to us to create the right habits and the right things for our legacy, habits and routines and skills and systems that will bring blessings to our bloodline, right? So we want to create the new things and the new story and the new traditions for our legacy when creating a legacy. Great example. So what is it with the ox? What is it with, first of all, the ox, if you didn't know this, is when you say ox, you're actually talking about a bovine, but actually, in all reality, the definition, it is a learned skill. The ox and oxen is the ability to learn how to work together and yoke up. That's what oxen do, is they yoke up and work together. Interesting fun fact, it is not distinguished by it is distinguished by a by the bovine itself, but it's not whether it's a steer, it's not it's a bull, or it's a heifer, or it's a cow. It can be either or. It's a discipline of learning to yoke and work together. I find that very fascinating because we don't see that with the other two faces, the eagle and the lion. It's the actual animal, right, in that situation. But when we see and read of the word in the word of God about the faces that was represented in Ezekiel and Revelation, they call it the ox. And so again, recognizing, this is a learned skill. of discipline and repetition and a plan and faithfulness, consistency, commitment. And and I'll tell you, it is a progression too. I believe confidence allows you to be courageous, you gain confidence through the repetition, but it's interesting to even take action takes confidence and courage. Then you got the ability to communicate that well, the eagle, right? So we got the lion, get some courage, take action. Got the eagle, helps us communicate, articulate, and attach the emotions to it to keep us in motion. And then you've got the ox that gets you to go, okay, this strength, I'm going to keep doing it over and over and over and over. I'm going to keep drilling because we're 5 feet from oil, right? I'm going to keep mining because I'm 2 feet from gold. And we want to keep going, consistent, faithful. And it's going after that fruit and being faithful and consistent, looking at the long term, not the short term, quick results like the lion does. No, long term. That's why it's so powerful and so essential and so beneficial to have the balance of all three faces and even your unique self on the face of human, the fourth face. But the ox today, the ox and the tragic truth of the ox. It was interesting because we've written this content many years ago and had it's in our content we talk about in connection DNA, learning your personality and who you are and the strengths that need to be improved. Not only strengths of the personality, but also strengths of communication and the different types of communication being represented by the different faces. And so it's really powerful too to learn those things. But again, going back to the ox, the tragic truth is, oh, that's what I was saying. So we had created the content connection DNA. We had the four faces out there, and I had one morning I was sitting here. We were doing an Epic 30 and starting that, and we were finishing up. And I was looking at my messages now from clients, and because I'll get them all day, all morning. And one client had said, "Hey, I see the tragic truth for the eagle. I see the tragic truth for the lion." And she even pointed out, I see the tragic truth for the human, the face of man, which we'll get into that sometime. But then she goes, what about the ox? And I was like, it was so weird to me. All of a sudden, I was like, oh my goodness. What the heck? How have I never looked for the tragic truth? How have I never even realized that that one didn't have one? And so it that morning literally finished up. I had some time before my first client and appointments. So I took time to just dive deep and ask Father, like, oh, Father, Abba, like the representation of the ox is the father, the consistent, the committed one. What is the tragic truth? And the way I find out the tragic truth is to dive deep into the animal itself and the things that it's been through and the things that happens or the things that we know about that animal. And it's interesting what I found out about the ox is that the tragic truth, it's tragic, but yet it is also then it embodies the strength, right, of that particular face. Just like the eagle, they're hungry, they communicate, they go after it, they want the food, they do well to, that's the tragic truth of them only feeding the hungry. And the fact that that is powerful, right? And then same with the lion, tragic truth of, hey, that's necessary to get their bloodline and to get the females impregnated with their bloodline, and so it's like in nature, it's necessary for that. So what is it in the ox? And I found out learning about the ox and learning about that it is a learned skill, but however, the animal itself, when you go to the bovine and especially the bull, I learned about the matador, and it was actually very troubling to study it actually and what they do, and it happens a lot. And obviously, it doesn't happen in the U.S. They're very protective of animals, but in other countries of the world, there's a lot of traditions of where they will do bullfighting, and the matador has spears, and the bull come at them, and they'll toro and they have the red cape thing, and the bull comes towards the red cape, and they move out of the way, and then they jab with the spear. It's very dramatic, actually. But here's the interesting thing about why they chose the bull, why they chose to fight the bull, and the bullfighters are very well known. It's because of the bovine, because of the tragic truth. They do not quit. They are known as one of the most faithful, diligent animals on the planet where they do not quit. So, meaning like in a bullfight, they are really fighting that human, that matador that is stabbing them over and over and over. And it's crazy. Again, I'm not endorsing that. I'm telling you tragic truth. And I would not, again, it's fascinating to me, but I would never say that I want that it's right or good or even beneficial. It's just pointing out a fact about the ox where you get to see the true nature of that no quit. That's the tragic truth. They will not quit. It's literally how we won the West in the US is not because of horses, but actually because of the oxen pulling the wagons across the rough terrain where there was no established roads and pulling and going through, trudging through and being able to eat. And they got four stomachs that's very efficient. I mean, there's so many details about the ox, and I in other trainings I have gone into those details of learning. And the ox or the bovine is the one animal where we use every part of it. No part gets wasted on that animal when we talk about consuming it for food and for meat and for leather and for. I mean, there's so many great uses for even having when we processed our some of our cows and some of our steers here on the ranch, even the skulls are popular to keep. We have kept the skulls with nice horns on it. Like it's interesting how every part of the bovine, and in some countries they are worshipped even, but they just don't quit. Once they start something, they don't that's the tragic truth. They don't have an off button. So that gets proven again in the bullfighting. It's very dramatic. I don't endorse or even believe it's right to do bullfighting, but the facts are it happens. And I didn't know anything really about it until that day when I was asked what's the tragic truth of the bull or of the oxen, excuse me, and I started doing the study and research on the bovine and find out what is it in them, what is it that's in nature that, and it's they don't quit. And matter of fact, there's bull riding here in the states. Do know that. I just watched a movie about that, and the challenge of staying on a bull as again, it's sad, but they will strap that bull and compress the bull's testicles to where it jumps and tries to get it off of them, right? And trying to, but that's where then they've accepted the fact Americans will, and in other countries too, they do what's called bull riding to see if they can stay on that bull for 4 seconds. It's interesting that that's the target, 4 seconds, right? That's the target to ride that bull for 4 seconds because he is bucking and kicking and jumping and he is powerful. He is powerful. So again, the power, the strength, the persistence of that bull, and they do not know how to quit. Matter of fact, statistically, and this is terrible, in the bullfighting, they're stabbing and spearing, right? And they've got the matador, and as I read up on this, um, they will stab, and the bull will appear to be dead. And this is what's crazy. They say that like 90 something percent of those bulls, when they drag them off of the matador field after the battle is over, that they are actually not dead. There's a huge percentage of them that are still alive. And again, this is terrible. Please hear me. I'm just explaining what the tragic truth and explaining how they do not quit is that they actually there's a thing that they will do is as the bull's getting weaker, they will go and cut the spinal cord on the back of the bull's neck to where they can't move, to where it appears like they are defeated and dead or done when actually they aren't, but they keep getting back up. And that's what I mean by that. The bull, the oxen keeps getting back up. They don't quit. It's super powerful when you think about that. And also, it's very traumatic too. That too, I mean, that's why they do the bullfight. That's why they do the bull runs. That's why they do the bull riding. Like humans are trying to show that they can conquer some of the strongest, most powerful beasts on the planet. And the bull is one of them. The bulls come at you and keep coming at you. And it is a battle of human versus man versus beast in that situation of fighting or yeah, the matador fighting against the bull. And so it is interesting and terrible that humans will cheat, but it just shows you the strength of the bull and the fact that they do not quit, and even their heart doesn't want to quit even after they've been crippled and then drug off of the Matador field. I don't even know if it's legal anymore in the world. Maybe it's not. I have no clue. I just know I did the research to learn about it, to learn more about the oxen and learn more about the animal itself, and that's where I discovered the tragic truth. And you can see that in a again, part of it is having the balance. We talk about balance all the time of the ox, the eagle, and the lion. It is very important to have balance because the three of them balance each other. You got to have the vision, and you've got to have the ability to see a vision and be able to see where you're going and be able to change gears too as well, knowing that okay, here's some good strategies here, good strategies there, and learning and growing. The lion taking massive action, right? And then the ox just repetition, repetition, the plan, the strategy, but also being able to adapt. That's the different part. I mean, I think that's where the tragic truth comes in. It's the strength of the ox. However, adapting and changing is important too, and that comes through the balance. I think an ox left unbalanced with the other faces of God and the other strengths, as we call them, will just get stuck in a rut and stay there and stay there and stay there and stay there, whether it's getting results or not, whether it's getting any benefits. And you see that in the tragic truth of the ox itself, the bull, and the literally too. By the way, I've raised now cows, bottle fed them, raised my bull Ricky. They are freaking stubborn too, meaning like they will just they get their mind made up. Like a lot of times, we were taught this by an old rancher too. It's like when a cow gets out and starts getting out, they're always going to get out. Then they're just one of those. They get into that habit of getting out, and they just keep getting out and getting out, and they figure it out. It becomes a mission of theirs, and they're smart. They're very smart. And so it's interesting because we saw that throughout the years too. We just processed one of our cows, and I was like, "Yeah, it's time to process," because we were looking to process a couple of cows for to fill our freezers up and to kind of to narrow down our herd for the winter because we have to feed them through the winter. So we processed a couple, and one of them we made decisions because it's like, yeah, that cow keeps getting out, and we cannot stop her from getting out, no matter what we do. Electric fence, barbed wire, like it, and yeah. So, anyways, that's the stubbornness, even whether it's male or female, right? This was a heifer as well. No, she had had a baby calf, so she was a mother cow that had grown up, and we processed her, and we're grateful. We have two cows that we processed this year, and we're grateful for the meat. We are meat eaters. Maybe you don't like that or think that's good, but we do. We process and we love them well. We're grateful for the life they have, and then the fact that they would be able to produce meat for us. So it's a cycle and circle of life for us in that way. Again, the faithfulness of the man, the father, the grandfather type figure, um, the ox, the personality of the ox is super powerful. To have that personality, to have that strength strengthened in yourself. And it's why, like I said, I came out this morning, being Christmas Eve. I will be again traveling and to the orphanage for Christmas Day tomorrow later afternoon. But for today, I knew I wanted to work and get up and be consistent, be here on doing videos with you. So that's the ox. And in a little bit, we will definitely have. What aren't you talking about? Someone that jumped on. That's funny. The word salad. Okay, this is absolutely word salad. Great. I'm glad you showed up, and thanks for being here and commenting. Word salad. You got to be here for the whole story, and that's okay. You can watch the recording. Good morning, Sheila. I'm halfway through Connection DNA. I'm loving it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we go into detail of the different faces, even with communication styles and stuff. Merry Christmas. Thank you, Sheila, and safe travels to Mexico tomorrow. Thank you. Love you. Bless you. I remember my grandpa telling me I was a bullheaded. Isn't that funny? How these sayings and things over the years? It's so true. And to finish the story of because you just made me think, going back to that client that had messaged me, I was able to share that day with her. It was a lady that was asking about the tragic truth of the bull. She really was intrigued by the four faces, and even the communication style. And so, yeah, when I was able to unlock that and unpack it, it was super crazy cool. And I've seen it throughout the years too, as well. Just that faithfulness and consistency, but yet it is the tragic truth of the oxen and the bull, of why they are utilized, and they just keep going. Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good, awesome thing, but yet it is tragic that, in the truth, tragic truth of how then human wants to face them and battle them and show that they can be stronger than the bull, right? That is known as super strong. And they are. They're so strong, so powerful. My goodness. I remember, we bottle fed Ricky, and he was my boy. I could call him like a dog, and he'd come running. And man, he'd come running, you'd feel the ground. Boom, boom, boom. You could feel it because he's so big. You feel on the ground him running and coming up, and he's so powerful. So he'd come running to me, and it'd be like I'd have to watch myself, because just even one step, not on purpose, if he'd step, he could step and crush my foot like that easy, because of the weight, the size, the power, the magnitude of a bull, or a cow or a bovine. It's just amazing. So, yeah, often I'd be loving on him, and he'd be kind of stepping and moving. I'd have to get my feet out of the way. Yeah, it's really interesting. But a lot of people warn me, oh, that bull can turn on you any minute, and he's so powerful and kill you. And it's true. It's not like that's not a true story. It's true. However, never happened with Ricky. That was my boy. But it is funny how the bulls are so powerful, so strong. And I remember even, jeez, we would be feeding them like out of a container, and they would just move their head like that, and it would throw you. Like they didn't. It's crazy how strong they are. Um, Perhaps, what'd you say? Perhaps that was my stubbornness. That's right. It's insane. It's a thing. I might still be in some ways. Yeah, I hear you. It's a good thing. It is a good thing. It is. That's what I mean. That's why we talk about the balance. Jesse and I have this conversation all the time, because inherently I have the traits of the lion eagle. First and foremost, I've developed the strengths of the ox. And Jesse is ox, probably ox eagle. And then, yeah, it's powerful to see Jesse and how consistent and faithful he is. But we've talked about how important it is for us to have the balance of all four faces, and all of our embracing our peculiar as well. And so, yeah, good stuff. We talk about the powerful epic man and the fourth face just briefly. Maybe we'll go more into it when Chantel's here with me. We will be coming back on live probably around 7 or so. But one of the things about the face of man is teachable, coachable, humble man. That's what we talk about. And it's super powerful to talk about that man and learning about his strengths that come from the ox, lion, and eagle, and then his unique, peculiar trait that is in him. When you discover those things and embrace those things, it does create an epic life, epic your life. I'm Carlos, the Amish Matchmaker. We help Amish singles and other singles too as well. You don't have to be Amish; it's just our reputation. But we do. We help Amish singles to find godly spouses, have epic marriages, and then create a legacy rooted, strengthened, foundational in freedom and faith. God bless you. Have a great day. And if I don't see you around 7, have a Merry Christmas. If I don't see you on one of my lives, as I'm in Mexico, I will be coming live from Mexico. By the way, okay, Leia, our little grandbaby girl, she's amazing. We got to see her anatomy and her spine, all kinds of cool stuff yesterday. It was amazing through the ultrasound. Powerful equipment they have these days to be able to see babies inside the womb. And so, very proud grandfather, grandpapa, and I'm excited to be meeting her on this side of the womb. I sing to her, I pray for her, I talk to her every day, little Kalea. But yeah, May, that's what we're looking at, May. So God bless you. Have a great day. Again, thanks for your support. Pop comments in here, go subscribe, like, and let us know. what would be helpful content too, or things that would help you in your relationship skills. If you have some things that you're really working on, would love some advice and need help on, we'll bring it. Just let us know. Message us or put something in the comments, and we will check it out and reply and answer questions. All right. God bless you. Have a great day.